That, ladies and gentlemen, brings us to TNA Impact. How did TNA Impact do? I thought TNA Impact last week was very, very good. But at the same time, I thought it was still extremely disorganized. So let's see, did they clean up their act this week? Let's find out. The first thing we want to talk about, the main event was AJ Styles taking on Jeff Hardy. This got started when AJ and Flair came out. Flair self-mutilated himself. He was bleeding all over this place. He ripped his own cut open and blood just gushing everywhere. Flair is a hell of a bleeder. Then we have Jeff Hardy come out, and we get a match tonight for AJ Styles against Jeff Hardy, which led us to later in the program when they put on a phenomenal match. As you might expect, this was not the first time that they've wrestled in TNA. They could have probably saved this for a pay-per-view and hyped this up and done this a little differently, but I love that they gave it away on free television. I love that we got to see an outstanding main event match. This is something Raw usually always lacks. They don't have that big main event match that goes over 5 minutes. They usually have a run-in, their last match are usually just to sort of get them to next week. This was a great match. It was kind of a throwback to the old school days when main events meant something, and I was glad to actually see Jeff Hardy get the win, even though it was not for the title. So that was a great match. I was very happy with that segment. I was also happy with what's going on with Sting and RVD. I wasn't so sure about Sting's heel turn. I don't know that makes any sense. I still don't think it makes sense. I still don't think I don't care what reason you give me for it, it's not really going to make any sense, whatever. Anyhow, I still think he's playing a good heel. Sting is so good. He's such a good character. He can play a heel. He can play a face. RVD came out of nowhere, jumped Sting. Hogan had challenged Sting to come to the ring. RVD hits him from the back, throws him inside. Hogan's got the bat. He's about to give it to Sting, and Bischoff shows up and stops Hogan. He doesn't want Hogan hitting Sting, which was ironic and a little strange. So I wonder what that's all about. I thought him and Bischoff were close, but apparently they're breaking up soon. And Hogan, he let Bischoff take the bat. He didn't hit him. You should have seen the look on Sting's face. He had the cockiest look. It was great. So I like that Sting is a heel now, and I think what they're doing with him and RVD is really building towards something. That could be a great match. I want to watch that. And the other thing that I liked, Mick Foley was supposed to get a haircut tonight from Eric Bischoff, but right before he got that razor on his head, Foley grabbed Bischoff's hand and stuck a sock in his mouth. Socko returned. Bischoff was knocked cold, and he then got his head shaved, which was awesome. I love seeing wrestlers, managers, whatever it is, get their head shaved on television, get a haircut. That is awesome. Good job, Mick Foley, on that one. And although I don't like the whole, Bischoff's obsessed with Foley storyline, I still like that particular segment tonight. One thing that I definitely want to rant about that I did not like was what the hell is Jimmy Hart doing wrestling? I know that Hulk Hogan loves the Nasty Boys and he has them in there, and I don't really care for the Nasty Boys, but I love Jimmy Hart, and I think they can do something with Jimmy Hart, so why not use him with one of these younger guys? Why not use him with someone who can be groomed, who he can help? Sticking him with the Nasty Boys isn't helping anyone, and TNA is tending to do this with a lot of their old timers. They're just sticking them together. I don't think that benefits anyone. Okay, so when you see Hall and Nash wrestling each other, I have to wonder what's going on here with the booking, what's going on with the storylines. These guys can't wrestle each other. Both of them can only work a fifth at best of what they used to. So how do you think they're going to do against each other? They need someone to help them. They need a younger guy. Maybe they need to just manage. Maybe they need to do jumps. Maybe whatever. That is not going to work, okay? 40 versus 50-year-old men, they're not going to have it the way they used to. Unless you're HBK, unless you're Taker, unless you're a lot of the, Ric Flair, you're really not going to be able to put on a great match in your 50s. It happens, but I don't think these guys, the Nasty Boys, it's not going to happen. Nash right now, it's not going to happen. Hall right now, it's not going to happen. So we need to move away from that. So tonight, the TNA Impact, I thought it was a good show. I enjoyed the show. I didn't like it as much as Raw. I thought it lacked just a little bit, and it certainly wasn't better than last week. It was a taped show. And when it's taped, it's just never going to be good as it would be live, in my opinion. So for the good, I like the Sting RVD stuff. I thought AJ and Hardy had an outstanding match, 3 to 3.5 stars. And I thought Foley and Bischoff had their first really quality segment together, but it took Bischoff getting his head shaved for that to happen. The bad, extremely unorganized. Again, everything is all over the place. Where's the big picture angle? What's the big story in TNA right now? Hulk Hogan's there? Who's running the ship here? Is Dixie in charge in the storyline? Is Hogan in charge in this storyline? Does Bischoff have equal power? Can anyone be kicked out or in, or what's going on? There's no big picture here. And that's what this show is really lacking. They're all over the place. Russo and company, they're throwing stuff at the wall to see what will stick. That's fine, but what ends up happening is you get a lot of the ugly stuff that is not sticking is going to ruin the good stuff that is sticking on your show. So you get good moments on the show in parts, and then you get complete nasty moments on the show, literally. Okay, so stop throwing so many things at the wall. Get back to basics. You know, do what the WWE's doing. They're not doing anything mind-blowing right now. They're doing basic 101 booking, but it's still effective. Okay, so kind of go back to that maybe a little bit before Russo and you guys start going a little too crazy with these storylines and throwing too much at us too fast, and it's all over the place, and it doesn't make sense. So it's unorganized. That's the main complaint that I'm going to keep on with TNA week after week until I see some consistency in the storylines, until I see some storylines that make sense. And I'm not seeing it. Like I said, you know, these old guys wrestling each other, it's not going to cut it. Jimmy Hart getting a win over the Dudley Boys, give me a break. Jimmy Hart being with the Nasty Boys, even worse. But I still like the show. AJ and Jeff had a great match. Eric Bischoff got his head shaved. Sting is a good heel. RVD is awesome. I love seeing Hogan on camera, and Abyss's character continues to grow. So for tonight's TNA Impact, I give them a C. And that's it. I'm just going to give tonight's TNA Impact a C. I thought it was an average show. It was good, but not great. And I think they're going to get a royal ass kicking in the ratings when they come out later today. Stone Cold Steve Austin probably dominated them. They got a 1.0 last week, which was bad and very disappointing. I don't think they can do much worse than that. I hope they don't. Or we could see TNA off of Mondays, maybe back to Thursdays, or maybe even worse. Who knows? So let's hope for the best for TNA, because I like doing these reviews. Although it's kind of hard to watch both shows, the split screen does help, and you can go back and forth and get a good idea what's going on. But I could see why some fans might want Impact to move back to Thursday so they can watch both shows, give both shows their full attention. So tonight's grades: we gave Raw a B+, we gave Impact a C. And let's see what happens next week. Like I said, guys, I'm going to try to call this right down the middle every single week. You don't have to agree with me, all right? But these are just my opinions and what I think. I've been watching wrestling a long time, all right? So that's just what I think. Let me know if you guys agree. Comment, message me, tweet me, whatever it takes. And come back and visit us every week. We're going to do these reviews on Monday. And keep watching the Kick-Ass Wrestling Show and listening to the radio show on Saturday. Thanks for joining us, everybody. WWE Raw is your winner this week. Who's going to win next week? Find out. Tune in. Watch us. Goodbye.